Yeah, I guess start now. So last class we started this paper and we did the first few questions. Yes, good evening. Okay, I'll give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13. I'll just give you 13 minutes. Try doing these questions now. Timer. Sorry on that error. Yeah, do these questions now. Which province? It is not a province, it's a school paper. Last week we started the school paper. It's the News Year's college paper. Okay, your time is up. Let's check your answers. I hope you all have done these questions now. By now, let's check them. Okay, the first one. Write down the matching words for each of the blanks labeled as A to D in the following paragraph. When the user power ups the computer, the CPU activates dash. The first program activated is dash. Using the dash memory, it checks all the hardware and confirms that all are functioning properly. After that, it reads the dash in a boot drive in accordance with the firmware bootstrap loader, which is provided by the computer manufacturer. Then the kernel loads in the operating system and boot drive the in boot drive to RAM. Okay. Here, if you read this whole paragraph, you will understand they are talking about how an operating system is loaded inside the RAM when you're going to on the computer. Okay, so when you're on the computer, what happens is the operating system will load into the RAM. That scenario is being spoken. Let's go through the answers, questions. Now, when you power up the computer, what is the first program that's going to get what do you call that's the first what's the first let's say a program that's going to start activated that's going to get activated first itself. The CPU will run the which one first? Correct. There's this program called the BIOS. BIOS stands for Basic Input Output System, right? So when you on the computers, when you press the power button itself, the first thing that get activates is the CPU will activate the BIOS. That's the first thing. Now, once the BIOS is activated, okay, like BIOS is like an application, imagine, right? So this BIOS application, under that, there is like a sub-program kind of scenario. Okay, like under that, there is another program. Inside, think like inside the application, there's another application, something like that. Okay. So what happens is the BIOS is going to start activating a program. What is the program called? Again, now this program is activated by the BIOS. Huh? The BIOS will first of all start running a program. Which program? Correct. BIOS starts running a program, and that program is called the post program. Okay. Normally, post is a program that's going to check is your hardware all functioning properly. Okay, that's the main purpose of post. Using the dash memory, it checks all the hardware and confirms that all are functioning properly. Okay. Now, there is a memory in your computer. Okay, I told you when I was doing this lesson in the class, I would have told you. In this memory only, we store even the time. Now, for example, when you on off the computer and on the computer, do you set the time again? Let's say you off the computer and you're going to on the computer. Do you again go and set the time? Like, for example, the time will it get paused? Like when you stopped off the computer, at that time, the time is going to get paused and now it's going to get started. No. For you to start for you to start seeing the time, is it compulsory that your laptop should have internet connection? Without internet connection, you can't see the time. Is that a fact? Again, no. So, for example, let's say when I'm off in the laptop, let's say I off the laptop at 7:30 p.m. and I on the laptop at 8:30 p.m. Still, my time is correctly working. So that means this clock, if you take a clock, if the clock is not running, how can the time be stored? That's a question mark, right? So if you take your computer, there is a specific memory that actually doesn't get off. Okay. What happens is program inside that is always on, mostly always on. Now you might be wondering, so CPU means if you remove the plug, current is gone, Nekila. Actually, this memory, it has its own power supply, right? It has its own like a battery kind of scenario. So even if your computer doesn't have the charge connected to it, still this memory can store the data and run certain programs. What is that memory? That memory, the time all will be running. Correct. It's the CMOS memory, complementary metal oxide semiconductor. CMOS stands for complementary metal oxide semiconductor. Complementary metal oxide semiconductor. What's the function of post? If you look at a computer, first of all, BIOS is that BIOS will check are the hardwares present. After BIOS check is the hardware present, what post is going to do is post is going to check are these hardwares working. Got it? That's the difference between BIOS and post. BIOS is going to check are they connected? Like, do we have a RAM? Do we have a ROM? Do we have a hard disk? Or ROM is obviously we have, but do we have a RAM? Do we have a hard disk? Do we have a, let's say, processor? Are these hardwares present? BIOS is going to check. Post will check is the RAM working? Is the hardware is the hard disk working? All the stuffs. Got it? To check to check if something is working or not, it should know it should have some data. Okay, we call that data as a configuration data. Okay, like for example, let's say I want to know what your result is. Okay, I have your marks. Let's say you got 75 marks for ICT, or 80 marks for ICT, or 90 marks for ICT, or 30 marks for ICT. Now, to give you a result, whether you got A, B, or C, or D, I should have something I will cross check, right? I'm going to cross check, let's say I'm going to cross check a book. So in that book, I have mentioned, let's say, if the marks is between 0 to 35, 0 to 34, it's fail. Between 35 to, let's say, 45, it's C. Likewise, if I have book which has mentioned 75 above is A, 65 above is B killer. If I have like a book that is mentioned, now I can refer that book and tell what your grade is. Okay. So the main purpose of that list, or the main purpose of this sheet is going to be, I'm going to cross check and see what is your result, right? Similarly, if you take your program, if you take your computer, inside the CMOS memory, okay, we have something called as a configuration data. We have this configuration data. This is stored inside your CMOS memory. Okay. So when the post is checking, is it working? If you're going to ask me, how is it checking? It will cross-check with the configuration data, like settings kind of data. It will cross-check with the configuration data available in CMOS memory, and only it will, based on that data, based on the data we have in the CMOS memory, it can determine is this hardware working or not working. Got the idea? Tell me, are you clear on what is the purpose of BIOS, what is the purpose of post, and what is the purpose of CMOS here? CMOS is going to have those configuration data. Okay. So CMOS memory checks all the hardware and confirms that are functioning properly. After that, it reads the dash in boot drive in accordance with the firmware bootstrap loader. Okay. It reads the one specific record. Which record does it read? Now, if you take a hard disk, sometimes in a hard disk, let's say if you have to take a computer, let's say in a computer, you can connect a CD. You can connect pen drives. You can have a hard disk. Now, we can have the operating system stored inside this pen drive. We can have operating system stored inside the CD, and we can have operating system stored in the hard disk. We can have three different operating systems in three different places. Now, your hard disk, when you're on the computer, let's say you have a pen drive connected, you have the CD connected, and you have the hard disk connected. Your pen drive should know, sorry, not pen drive, your computer should know, should I load the operating system available in the pen drive, or else should I load the operating system available in the CD, or else in the hard disk? Which one to load first? Your operating system should know that data. That data is recorded in a specific place. What is that place called? Correct. That's called the MBR. MBR stands for Master Boot Record. Okay. In Master Boot Record, what we do is we store and keep where to go and search for the operating system first. Should I go and search for the operating system in the pen drive first, or a CD first, or else let's say hard disk first? The question is where to go and search that first is stored inside this master boot record, right? And then once it knows, okay, I have to go and take from the pen drive first, it'll go and check, does the pen drive have? Then if it's mentioned second as CD, it'll go and check the CD. Does the CD have a operating system? If operating system is not there in the pen drive, if operating system is not there in the CD, then only it will come for the hard disk. If I have mentioned that, okay, you can reorder this. You can tell to check the pen drive first, hard disk second, CD third, or CD first, pen drive second killer. You can reorder all these data, but they all are available in the master boot record. Got it, all of you? So in the boot record with the firmware bootstrap loader, which is provided by the blah 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 blah. Okay, HRI. So they're asking HRI. I didn't get that. It's like this. Now imagine what do you call imagine your house, what do you call you have money. Okay. So what happens is, let's say in your house you get these beggars. Let's say every once a week the beggars comes to your house. So what happens is, every time you're going to go to your mother's or father's purse and take, it's very hard. So what your mother has done is, your mother has kept like a small, like a, let's say a box. Okay. Inside this box, she has, let's say, kept some coins. Okay, or some short, a small amount of notes. So let's say she has kept some coins in, like in a, there are three boxes. Okay. One box is going to be there inside the hall. One box is going to be there in the kitchen. And let's say one box is going to be there in the, let's say, room. Now, she has told you that if a beggar comes, first of all, go and check the, what do you call, hall box. Do we have any coins? If there is no coins, second, go and check the kitchen. Again, if here also don't have, then go for the room. Okay. So she has told you the order of where to go and check the coins. Now, let's say a beggar has come. Now, only you're at your home. You will go and give some money. What you do? Will you go for the room itself, first of all, based on the instructions she has given you? Will you go and search for the coin in the room itself, first and foremost? No. Okay. So what she has to go and check the hall first? No. So you're going to go and check the till in the hall. Does it have money? Let's say the till in the hall, it doesn't have money. Like, she had put money inside fully. But the problem is, you have been giving people little by little. And now let's say this till is full. This till is empty. So this till doesn't have money. Now where will you go? Will you go for the room or will you go for the kitchen? Which till are you going to go to? Exactly. Now you're going to go for the kitchen. You're going to go to the, what do you call, till we have in the kitchen, and you're going to see in this till do we have money. Now let's say we have money. So you're going to take this money and you're going to go and give the beggar. Right? You're going to go and give the beggar. Now in this instance, did you even go for that till in the room? Did you go for the next till? No. Because your mother has given an order. Like she has said, first you go and check the hall. Second, you go and check the kitchen. Third, you go and check the room. Similarly, if you take a computer, there's something called as a master boot record. The word boot means loading operating system. Okay. So what it will happen is, when it's loading the operating system in your what do you call BIOS, we can go and mention the master boot record where to go and search for the operating system. Because if you take technically, the operating system is a program. It's a software. If you take operating system, it's actually software. And this software is permanently stored somewhere. Okay. Permanently, it's stored somewhere. For example, you can permanently store this inside your pen drive. You can permanently store your operating system inside, let's say, a CD. Or you can permanently store your operating system inside a hard disk as well. Okay. So when you're using the operating system, okay, while let's say your laptop is running now, while your computer is running, your operating system is served from where? While your operating system is running, while your computer is functioning, normally if you take off operating system, it is being, running from which memory? Where? All the programs that are running in the computer, it will run from that memory only. Exactly. It's the RAM. So any program you're running, any program that is being currently used, okay, that program is normally served from the RAM. Okay. Imagine like the, what do you call, your fridge and the dining table. You store your food permanently in the fridge, but while you're eating, you will take it to a table. So RAM is like your dining table. Okay. So all the program they're running is stored in the RAM. Now, your operating system should know, okay, I mean, your computer should know, should I go and take it from the USB and put it to the RAM? Or should I go and take it from the CD and put it to the RAM? Or should I take it from the hard disk, the operating system, and put it to the RAM? So we have to go and search the RAM, where to go and search for the operating system first. That order is mentioned in the master boot record. So if I mention go and check the USB first, CD second, hard disk third. Now it will first of all go and check the USB. If USB doesn't have, it'll go and check the CD. If CD has, it'll take that operating system and it'll put that in the RAM. It will not even go for the hard disk. Got the purpose of master boot record? Got the idea? Are MBR instructions to check hardware? No, these are MBR is. It's the order. MBR is used to find the location of the operating system. Yes, it will tell you where to go and search. What is the full form of post power on self test? Why isn't hard disk given priority? Let's say sometimes, normally we don't give hard disk a priority. Let's say sometimes your hard disk is corrupted. Okay, let's say hard disk is not working or your hard disk is corrupted. So you want to temporarily on your computer, but if your operating system is going to go and search for the hard disk again and again and again, and if it's having some errors and if it's going to be stuck from here, then you won't be able to on the computer. So most of the time, normally we keep the USB first, right? So because when you're on in the computer, you will not have a pen drive technically that has operating system inside it. It's very less chance that you will have a pen drive with operating system already plugged in. Okay. So for in terms of emergency situation, what happens is we can take a operating system, store inside the pen drive and plug it. So what's happening when the computer is owning, it'll on the operating system from the pen drive. Got it. So keeping the USB first is better because in emergency situation, if hard disk is corrupted, we can use the pen drive and on the computer. Got it? Perfect. Okay. So that's the answer for this question. Anyone having any other doubts here? So if your answer is correct, put half marks each. Can't we use SD card? We can use anything. I just gave you 3 examples. You can use any storage device. As long as it's a storage device, it's correct. Put half marks each. Amira actually have closed the registration for the recap class. But anyways, drop me WhatsApp and reply later. Next. Put half marks each there, okay? What is the difference between post and MBR? Post is going to check is the hard disk working properly. MBR is in the order. So if post is going to check are the hardware working properly. There is no connection between post and MBR, man. What do you mean by difference? Post is going to check are the what do you call hardware connected, like your CPU, CPU that is there, the hard disk that is there, RAM that is there. Is the hardware connected? No. Are those hardwares functioning? Are those hardware working? That's the basic idea of post. MBR is just creating a record. Like it's like imagine order of where to go and search for the operating system. WhatsApp message will be within 3 to 5 working days. Exactly correct. That's fine, Zainab. Not exactly, but okay. Next, an automated system is used in a library, allowing the members to borrow library books. The member to the member something the word is not clear anyways. The member dash to keep his membership card on the barcode reader. Okay, to keep his okay, member asked to keep his or whatever on the barcode reader first, and then keep the book on the barcode reader system. Then updates the borrowing of the book in a book database. A receipt will be generated confirming his borrowing as well as mention the return date. Identify the input, process, and output. Okay. Now, in this scenario, if you take the system for this machine, you can see there are 2 things we are giving this machine. What are the 2 things we are giving for this machine? The barcode of who, what, and what. It is a barcode which we are giving, but barcode of whom and who. There are 2 things barcode which you are giving for the machine. Yes. One is you have to keep the membership card on the barcode reader. So you have to scan the membership card. Membership card is one input. Apart from the membership card, you're going to keep the book as well on the barcode reader. So this computer is going to get one data from the membership card. It is going to get another data from the barcode reader. Always keep in mind, if there's anything that's going to be given to the computer, if the computer is going to take something from them, It's an input. If the computer is going to give it out, it's output. Now the membership card and barcode, so membership card and the book, from these two elements, the computer is going to obtain a barcode, right? Because you're keeping that in the barcode reader, right? So in that case, this membership card is one input, the book is one input. Okay. So for input, you can mention barcode of membership card. If you just mention membership card, is fine. But to be precise, it should be barcode of membership card. Other one is, let's say, barcode of the book. Then they have mentioned in terms of process. Okay. The process we have here is this. We're going to update the borrowing of the book in the book database. We're going to have, we have a database to store what you call the book borrowings. Okay. That means who borrowed what book, when did he borrow, all those stuffs. Let's say we're going to store it in the database, right? So updating the borrowing of the book in the database, this is actually a process done by the system. Can't we say barcode as input? Correct. You can just mention barcode as input, or you can mention precisely barcode of membership card, barcode of books, right? But the most precise answer is this. But they might give you an answer if you just mention only membership card, or if you only mention barcode as well. Should I mention both? No, you can mention one of them. Not compulsory to mention both. In terms of process, like I told you a while ago, it's basically updating the borrowing of the book in the database. Updating the borrowing of book in the database. What is the output we have here? What is the thing we're going to get from this system? Correct. If you look at the scenario properly, you can see the system is going to generate a receipt, right? So the receipt is going to be the output which we have here. Is that clear, all of you? For mentioning one of the input correctly, half marks. For mentioning the output correctly, half marks. For mention the process correctly, put 1 mark there. Anyone having any questions here? Return date. They have not mentioned the return date. The return date is there on the receipt, no? To be more precise, the computer is going to give you the return date. So it is correct, but to be precise, what are you going to get from the computer? You're going to get from the computer basically a receipt. So just mention receipt is correct. But yeah, if you want, you can mention borrowing confirmation or else return date. That's also fine. But the most precise answer is receipt. Got it? But generating means like a process now. No. Keep in your mind, if there's anything, the computer or the system or the program or the application is going to give you out, give the user, it's actually a output. If there's something that's going to happen within the computer, it is not going to give you anything. That is not going to take anything from you. That's only a process. Now, for example, the part they have mentioned here regarding updating the borrowing of the book in the book database, this is nothing that they're not mentioned about giving you something. They're not mentioned that they're going to give you the output, or they're not mentioned that they're going to give you the updating borrowing details in that point, right? Or they're not mentioned that they're going to take the borrowing of the book from the user. They have just mentioned that we're updating the borrowing of the book in the book database. This action is going to affect only within the system. This action doesn't have anything connected to getting anything from the user or giving anything to the user. If it has getting anything from the user, it's an input. If it has giving something for the user, it's output. But if it's going to happen within itself, not getting, not giving, it's a process. Got it? Okay, let's go for the next one. Consider the following pseudocode with label A and B to identify to find the product of P of numbers from of numbers X from 1 to 10. Okay. When you say product of numbers, what do you mean by something like this? 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6 into 7 into 8 into 9 into 10. These are the product of numbers from 1 to 10. You're going to multiply all the numbers from 1 to 10 and find the product. Product means multiplication, right? So to get that answer, they have created here a program. Let's go through the program and figure out what do you think this are going to be. Yes, I will be giving prayer break. After this question, I'll give you. Okay. They have mentioned here P equals 1, X equals 0. Repeat X equals something. Okay. Now, initially, the value of X is 0. Keep this statement a bit paused. When you go to the question they have mentioned, to find the product P of numbers X from 1 to 10. Okay. So, P and X, there's a special name we can give for them. How do you call these identifiers that are used to store values in a program as? Correct. They are variables. Actually, in this program, they have mentioned here product equals product into number. It should have been P equals P into X. Okay, because everywhere they have used P and X, P and X. Only in this statement, they have messed it. Even in the question, they have mentioned that product is P and number is X. So the exact wording, instead of being product equals product into number, the correct wording should have been, okay, I'm going to do the correct wording here. The correct wording should have been P equals P into X. Product is equal to product into number. Okay, so P is a variable used to store the product, and X is a variable used to store the number. Now, to find the product of numbers from 1 to 10, should we start from 0 or should we start from 1? Correct. We're going to start from 1. So based on that, tell me this value, to make it 1, what should I do? How can I make this number 1? What should I do? What should be my action? Exactly. I have to add 1 into it. I have to add 1. So what I'm going to say is, I'm going to say the value of X has to be the current value of, okay, the new value of X has to be the current value of X plus 1. Okay. What I'm meaning by this is, here I'm talking about the new value. So I'm like, the new value of X has to be the current value of X plus 1. So what it's going to do is, it's going to increase the value of X by 1. Now X is 1. When I say product equals product into X, we're going to say the value of product is going to be equal to, now all this time product was equal to 1, no? 1 into X. X is also 1. So 1 times 1 is 1. Actually speaking here, the value of product is not changing. Because you can say initially also it was 1. After we executed this statement called P into X, P equals P into X, okay? Still the value of P is actually 1. Now, forget about this statement. Let's say we are going to again repeat this statement. Again, you repeat this statement, X equals X plus 1. The second time you're going to repeat the statement, X equals X plus 1. What do you think the new value of X is going to be? Now, initially, the value of X was 0. Then after I executed this statement for the first time, X plus 1, it became 1. So second time, if I'm going to run this statement, the new value of x is going to be current value of x plus 1. What's going to be the new value of x? Correct. The new value of x is going to be 2 because current value of x is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Then when I say p equals p into x, okay, currently you can see p is 1. X is actually, you can see 2. So 1 times 2 is going to be equal to 2. And that is how the value of p is going to be 2. Okay. If you notice here, indirectly, we are forming this multiplication. First of all, we got 1. Next, we got 1 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. No? Next, we are going for the next x value. Next x value is going to be 3, right? And in the next step, okay, once you get 3 there, here you are going to, where? Once you get 3 here, in this x, p into p plus p times x, you're going to multiply that 3 as well. Likewise, you're going to multiply 3, you're going to multiply 4 to the answer, you're going to multiply 5 to the answer, you're going to multiply 6 to the answer, 7 to the answer, 8 to the answer. You're going to do this multiplication until what? Until the number is correct. Until the number is x equals 10. You can mention until x equals 10, or you can also consider, let's say, until x is basically greater than 9. Okay. For B, if you want, you can mention until x is greater than 9, or you can mention until x is equal to 10, or until x is actually greater than or equal to 10. Any of these answers are correct. Can't we say x is less than 10? No. Why we can't say x is less than 10 is because we have repeat until loop here. If you say until x is less than 10, now currently the value of x is 2. No? When I go and check is 2 less than 10, is 2 less than 9, you said x is less than 10. Sorry. If you go and mention is x less than 10, okay, let's say the current value of x is 2. When you go and check is 2 less than 10, that's going to give you true. Repeat until loop stops when the program condition is true, right? Correct. X is less than 11. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Less than or equal to 10. Wrong. I'll again tell you why it's wrong. The program is something like this. In the program we have here, p equals 1. Then we have x equals 0. Then we have repeat x equals, and we had a label here. I said that's going to be x plus 1. P equals p into x until, let's say, if you all like you all said, if you put x is less than or equal to 10, what's the issue? I'm going to draw the dry run for this. To draw the dry run, I'm going to create one column each for every variable we have. So p is one variable, x is another variable. Then I'm going to have another column each for every condition we have. So let's say the condition we have is x less than or equal to 10. Now, as per this program, you can say the program is starting p equals 1. So I'm going to mention 1 here. X equals 0. So I'm going to mention 0 here. Repeat x equals x plus 1. Now, currently you can see x is 0. X plus 1 means 0 plus 1. And this becomes 1. When you say p equals p into x, currently you can see the value of p is 1. X is 1. So p into x is 1 times 1. So new value of p is going to be 1. Now, when you come and check is x less than or equal to 10? X is now 1, right? When you come and check is 1 less than or equal to 10, will this condition give you true or false? What is this condition going to give us? True or false? It's going to give us true. Now imagine if I tell you, ask permission from your parent until you get the permission. Ask permission from your parents until you get. Now, after you get the permission, will you again go and ask permission? Let's say you got the permission. Will you again go and ask the permission? No, because I'm telling you, ask only until you get. So when I say until x is less than or equal to 10, it's going and checking, is x less than or equal to 10? If x is less than or equal to 10, if it's going to give you true, this loop stops and we go for the instruction that is there here. We don't repeat the loop. We only repeat on the loop, okay, only if the condition is false. Got it? So without mentioning less than or equal to, if I mention greater than or equal to, see how it will work. Now in the current program, if I have changed this from less than or equal to and make it greater than or equal to, if I come and check, is the value of x at the moment greater than or equal to 10? Current value of x, is it greater than or equal to 10? True or false? It's going to give you false. So repeat until loop. If the condition is false, will the loop repeat or will the loop stop? Correct. Repeat until loop. It's going to repeat if the answer is false. It's going to repeat again. We have here x equals x plus 1. Currently, you can see x is 1. X plus 1 means 1 plus 1, and that's going to give you 2. X plus 1, the current value of x plus 1. Next, we have the value of p is going to be equal to p into x. P is 1, x is 2. So p into x means 1 times 2, which is 2. Now, when you come and check, is x greater than or equal to 100? Is the value of 10. Currently, is the value of x greater than or equal to 10? Is this value of x greater than or equal to 10? No, it's false. So likewise, that loop is going to again and again and again and again and again, it's going to repeat. And once the repetition is completed, you will be getting the answer of the sum of product numbers from 1 to 10. Is that clear, all of you? So their A is actually x plus 1. B is actually x is greater than or equal to 10. Again, apart from this x is greater than or equal to 10, you can also mention any of these answers. They are also correct. Anyone having any questions there? If you got this correct, put 1 mark. If you got this correct, put 1 mark. I'll be giving the time to play with. Tell me, out of 6 marks, up to here, how many marks you got? We discussed the first 3 questions here. Out of 6, how much you'll get? And I'll do at the end. Then you put x is greater than 9 in a blank. I said any of these are correct, man. You can mention greater than 9, equal to 10, greater than or equal to 10, greater than, yeah, anything is correct. It will exceed more than 10 if you use x is greater than 9. No, it will stop when it's 10. In all these scenarios, it will stop after x becomes 10. Okay, perfect. I'll give you all around what the time, no? It's 6:57 now. By 7:05, make sure you pray and come. I'll start discussing from Roman number 8 at 7:05. So those are going to pray. Okay, quickly pray and come. At 7:05, I'll start discussing from Roman number 8. If there's any of y'all who did not do it from Roman number 8, do it now. I'll be discussing from Roman number 8 onwards at 7:05. Quick. Okay, sorry the delay. 11 is greater than x is greater than 9. Correct. No, you can't have conditions like that. Okay, let's start. So from the Roman number 8, write two activities related to the designing phase of SDLC. Right. When you take SDLC, SDLC stands for Software Development Life Cycles, right? When you take SDLC, okay, the software development life cycle, there are 6 phases in it. First of all, what we do is we identify the requirements of our customer. Once you identify requirements, second thing what we do is there's something called as a designing phase. Once the designing phase is done, there's something called as a coding phase or else implementation phase. And once the coding is done, we have the testing phase. Testing and debugging phase. Once we're done with the testing and debugging phase, then we have the deployment phase. This is called the publishing the application. And then finally, we have the what do you call finally we have the maintenance phase. What is debugging? Normally, when you're testing the application, there can be errors, no? So debugging is where we rectify those errors. Got it? Okay, so these are phase we have. So the question is asking you in the second phase, that is the designing phase, what are some tasks that can happen? Okay. During the designing phase, one thing you can do is you can design the interface of the application. We call that as UI designing. Okay. One action that can happen here is UI designing. Is coding and implementation are the same? Yes, they are the same. Designing. Apart from UI designing, another thing which we do in the coding phase is we have something called database designing. We design the database, how the database is going to be, how many tables are going to be there. In every table, what are the fields that are going to be there? Okay. So we have a part called database designing as well. Another thing that will happen in the designing phase is we figure out the tools and technologies. Okay, tools and technologies. Why is it stuck? Yeah. Tools and technologies to be used to develop the application. Let me explain what these 3 things are. Normally, when you take applications, what happens is we should just the client. We have to give the client with our customer a rough idea. Okay, we have to give the customer a rough idea on how the application might look like. Okay, so the designing which is done to show how the application might look is there. Right? That is what we call as a UI designing. Okay, so UI design means user interface designing. That will just give a rough idea. Like it's like imagine like images on how the application might look. Database designing is where under database designing we have something called as a UML diagrams, blah blah blah. Actually, there are several stuffs, class diagrams. You learn it in degree level, but keeping that thing aside, in AWS also you learn a bit. But in main part of database designing, what happens is you design how the database has to be made. For example, when you learn the grade 10 lesson number 9, in a database, you have a collection of tables, right? So in database designing, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out, okay, what are the tables we will need to create this application? And then what do you call in those tables? What are the fields those tables are going to have? What is going to be the data type of those tables? What is going to be the primary key of that table? Get a rough idea about how the database has to be. You will be what do you call planning out in this designing phase. Apart from that, you will be also figuring out what are the tools and technologies you're going to use to develop the application. The meaning of this is, like, for example, if you take applications, to create applications, sometimes we might use a programming language and we might start coding, or sometimes without coding also, there are ways you can build application. So we are going to figure out, are we going to use coding or not? If you're going to use coding, then what are the languages we are using? Because there are different types of programming language. So you're going to figure out what is the programming language that's more suitable. Those kind of analysis, those kind of planning is done in this designing phase. Another name for this designing phase is actually called as planning phase. Keep that also in your mind. Some people also call designing as planning phase. So these are some three key things that will happen in the designing phase. What do you say was publishing? Deployment. Deployment means publishing. Is that clear, all of you? Why can't we say preparing the layout? You mean for UI designing? Why a database is required? Go to your grade 10 lesson number 9 and see. No, are you saying preparing the layout is the answer for that question? Or are you asking, is preparing a layout? Actually, preparing layout means telling you what you call the, like, explain what UI designing is. That answer is correct. Correct. Because layout of the application means interface. Interface and layout is the same idea. So therefore it's correct. So yeah, if you had mentioned any one of the three options here, you can mention. So they're asking two activities. So out of these three, at least two if you had mentioned, you can put 1 mark there. 1 mark each, total 2 marks. Anyone wrote any other answers? I'll tell you if your answer is correct or wrong. Anyone of you all wrote different answers? If there's an answer, drop in the chat. I'll just check your answer next. 1 mark each. There's sorry. Half marks each. Sorry. Half marks each. Designing the software. Be specific. Front of the word design is at the word called UI design. It's not 2 marks, it's half marks each, sorry. So total 1 mark. For every answer you made, there are two answers required. Half marks each, total 1 mark. Huh? Planning the cost needed for the system to be completed. No. Planning the cost needed for the system to be built is done before identifying the requirement. Can you remember I told you something called feasibility study when I was doing the second lesson? The cost needed is figured out in the feasibility study under financial feasibility. So that's a wrong answer. Is the answer a sample sketch of the software correct? Correct, but instead of sample sketch, the correct word you'd use there is a prototype. In brackets, you mentioned prototype. Sample sketch means prototype. So creating a prototype of the application. But yeah, so if you have mentioned any of these answers, put half marks each, total 1 mark. Name two methods of information gathering methods. Okay. To gather information, the different methods we have are one, obviously, you can observe. Okay. You can observe the existing process of a company. If you want to build a process, you want to build a system for a company, you can go and observe currently how they are handling their processes, how they're handling their work, and then you can automate it. Then we have interviewing. We can interview the staffs. We can talk with the staffs. We can talk with the employees. We can talk with the people who are working there, or directly the owner. Anyone who is going to use the system. We can talk to the people who are going to use the system and figure out what are the things they want in the system. What are the issues they have in the existing method they're following, all those stuffs. Apart from interview, then you can also have a questionnaire. Question is like, I can give you a Google form, or let's say it's a question paper, and ask you to answer certain doubts. Now, for example, imagine there's 100 people. Interviewing 100 people will take lots of time. So instead of interviewing 100 people, what we do is we send 100 people 100 questionnaires. Each person a questionnaire. So going through a questionnaire is normally faster. Questionnaire is like, let's say, a question paper or Google form. Normally, you can go through this questionnaire is more faster than interview. So that's why. But you called certain times we go for questionnaires as well. Again, it depends on scale. Depends on how many people you want to talk with. Then apart from this, there's something called sample document collection. Imagine I want to create a what do you call it? I want to create a accounting system. To create an accounting system, I should know in the currently in the office what are the, let's say, how their invoices are maintained, like how their transactions are maintained at the moment, right? So I might go and let's say collect their ledgers. I might go and collect some bill books from them, or I might collect any other method. Like let's say they have a book where they record all the transactions. I might go and take that. So basically, by collecting all of their how they are maintaining records at the moment. Okay, now for me to create a new system, let's say accounting system, I should know currently how they're handling the accounts. So let's say they're writing the accounts on books or something. I go and collect all those books. I collect those. Those are called sample documents. I collect those sample documents and I go through them and understand. Okay, this is how he wants the salaries to be calculated. This is how he wants the expenses to be calculated. This is how he wants to know how the assets is being calculated. I can get a rough idea of how he wants to do his accounts by going through his books, right? So in sample document collection, I'm going to collect those samples to understand about the business. Correct. And finally, we have something called as prototyping. Prototyping means we go through similar websites or similar applications or similar programs and see identify requirements. Now imagine I want to create an e-commerce website. To create an e-commerce website without going through what you called without starting everything from scratch, I can just go through Daraz, AliExpress, eBay. I can go through this website and get a rough idea on how the website is structured. Like for example, okay, they have a home page, then they have products page. When you go and click on a product, you can get a product overview page. Okay, I get a rough idea. Okay, this is how I have to make my application, right? So to understand how the application has to be, I can do prototyping as well. So prototyping is where, like, let's say you have a demo application, or let's say you have an existing application, and using that, you might try to understand the requirements. Like for example, if you know the master online website and master IT website, to create the master online website, master IT was taken as a prototype. We are going through the master IT website. We're like, okay, let's add this feature in master online. Let's add this feature in master online. So, to understand how to create master online website, we were referring the master IT website. Correct? That kind of idea. Again, half marks each, total 2 marks. So total 1 mark. Half marks each, total 2 marks. That means for question A, half marks each, question B, half marks each. For here, total 1 mark, here, total 1 mark. Overall, for the question number 8, you get 2 marks. Anyways, anyone having any questions here? Meetings comes on interview. So technically, the word meeting is not correct. Next, which protocol is used to transfer large files of one computer in the internet to another computer? What is the protocol we use? So you all have learned certain protocols like HTTP protocol, SMTP protocol, FTP protocol, TCP/IP, and then the error handling protocol, ICMP, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have I missed anything? No, yeah, these are the protocols you all have learned. Out of them, which one is used for transferring files? Like, uploading file, downloading file, what is used? Correct. And uploading and downloading files, we use the FTP protocol. So if you had mentioned FTP as the answer here, put 1 mark there. This protocol is operated on. What are they expecting for B? FTP is the answer to question A. For B, what is the perspective? Because I can write HTTP also, it will make sense. If I write TCP/IP also, it will make sense. If I go and write it's operated on file handling also, file transferring also, it will make sense. If I go and write, let's say, exchange of file also, it makes sense. The question is not clear. This protocol is operated on. No. Yes, Hanam. Even if you're internet here, it's correct. But technically, no. I'll keep this question blank. I'll actually check and let you know what is the most suitable answer because you can put any word there. I mean, it will make sense. If I put there the word internet house, it will make sense. If I put the word exchange file, it will make sense. It is not very precise. The question is not very precise. So it is normally operated on TCP/IP, but again, that's advanced for that you can't get. So what you do is, if you had mentioned FTP for the keep the question be blank. As I said, it should be TCP/IP. TCP/IP has to be the correct suitable one because FTP goes under TCP/IP. Like for example, exchanging files. You tell your IP address, then he tells his IP address. Once you all are done sharing the IP address, then only the file transfer will happen. Okay. But again, I'll keep that question on blank. Not FTP client. FTP client is application used to upload and download files to web server. So no, it's they ask you operated on. So technically, it's operated on the internet. There is HTTP used as well. There's TCP/IP used as well. So mostly, obviously, TCP/IP has to be used because whatever communication that's happening on the internet, it works with TCP/IP. But I'll check. If you go to Google, it says client server model. That's what answer is. I'll double check what is the most suitable answer because you can write any word here, it'll make sense. So if you are wrote for the question A, FTP, put 2 marks. Ignore the question B. I'll tell you what is the most suitable answer and let you all know later. Because any word you put there, it'll make sense. I'll tell later. Indicate whether the following 4 statements label A to D regarding present what is FTP. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. Do you know what is a protocol? No. Okay. So basically, in the internet, when anything is going to happen in the internet, if people are going to not only the internet, yeah, like mainly the internet. When things are happening on the internet, if the things are not very organized, it will be a bit messy. For example, imagine you are to come to your school for parents' meeting. If they don't give a attire, if they don't tell, okay, where what do you call a shirt and trouser, or if they don't tell where what do you called sarong and shirt, like that, if they don't give you attire, if the parents comes in shorts and arm cut, or let's say shorts and banian for a parents meeting, is it nice for school? No. Okay. So what will the school do? School will set some rules. More than like rules, it's like things to be followed. Okay, we're not doing something. For example, when you enter in the school, the parents, if for a meeting, they have to come in, let's say, casual clothes or something like that. And for students also, there are rules. You can't come in any clothes. You can't come in your, what do you call, pajama to the school. If you're coming, you wear the school uniform, you tuck it, you wear the belt, you wear the trouser, you wear the shoe, black shoe, you polish the shoe, you have to cut the hair. There are certain things you have to follow when you want to actually come to the school, right? So similarly, just like you have to follow those rules and regulations, whenever you're going to do any transactions in the internet, like whenever you're going to do any communications or whatever through the internet, we have something called as protocols that has to be followed for different purpose. So like protocols are like the rules, the different rules that has to be adhered when you're doing a transaction. Like the things you have to follow. Like for example, you're coming for school, you have to wear the school uniform. But let's say if you're going for a party, do you wear the school uniform and go for the party? No. That your uniform is going to vary, okay, based on the situation. Similarly, when you want to do when you want to send emails, for example, let's say between one computer to another computer, okay, if emails has to be transferred, then there's a way you transfer emails. The email should have the sender's email name, receiver's email, then the receiving computer's IP address. I mean, there are some requirements you have to have. Okay. So if you want to send the email from one computer to another computer, you can't just mention whatever the data you want. There are some important data you have to mention. If you don't mention those important data, your email will not be sent. So protocol is like, it will tell you the rules. It's like a rule. It'll be like, okay, when you're sending emails, you have to make sure that you have these stuffs with you. So, for example, when you're sending when emails are being exchanged between servers, there's a protocol called SMTP protocol, SMTP. Okay, so it has certain rules. If you're following that rules, it'll be okay. This bug is following these rules, and it will send the email from this computer A to computer B. But if you don't follow the rules, it will not send your emails. Got it? So just like SMTP is used for that, each of these protocol has their own purpose. The main thing there is they're going to check, are you following the rules? HTTP has a different rule, SMTP has a different rule, FTP has a different rule, TCP has a different rule, ICMP has a different rule. The reason they have the different rules is because their purpose is different. If you take FTP is a protocol that's used when uploading file or downloading file. So let's say from the computer, okay, if you're going to upload a file, you're basically uploading it to another computer. Let's say from your home, from your computer, if you're going to upload it to Google Drive basically has another computer. You're going to upload from your computer to another computer. Okay. So when you're uploading file, there are some things your computer has to adhere, right? So that is being checked by this FTP protocol. It will be like, okay, is this person following the rules? Similarly, when you're downloading files as well, there are some rules, some data the sender has to send. If the sender has not sent those data, it'll be like, okay, there's some error. But the sender has sent all the data properly, then FTP protocol will be like, okay, all things are good. We can allow him to share files. So FTP is like a protocol. Sorry, a protocol is like, it's like a person, let's say, in who sets rules and makes sure he checks whether people are following the rules and connects them with each other. Good idea. And FTP is mainly used for file transfer. When you say file transfer, the two things that should come to your mind is uploading file and downloading file. Got it? If you have any questions on the chat, next. Indicate whether the following four statements label A to D regarding presentation software are true or false. Okay. Pre-prepared transparent sheets used in overhead projector. Okay. In overhead projector, the projector looks like this. Okay. There's like a camera here. It will capture whatever you write here. And whatever you write here, it will be presented onto a board like this. Okay. In the overhead projector, should you have this pre-prepared transparent sheets? Yes, because you will be keeping the transparent sheets here only in that like a place, and only you will start writing. Okay. Reading view display all the slides of the presentation together as mini slides. Is this correct? No. You can see all the slides as mini slide in slide sorter view, not reading view. So that is wrong. Next. A slide transition is a visual effect between slides in a presentation. Okay, is it a visual effect? Visual means what you can see. Is it an effect that you can see? Yes. Slide transition is a visual effect between slides. Correct. Microsoft PowerPoint is an open source presentation software. Is it correct? No. Microsoft PowerPoint is a commercial software, which means if you want to use Microsoft PowerPoint, you actually have to pay and obtain the license. So answer is correct, wrong, correct, wrong. Put half marks each. Anyone having any questions here? Okay, until that, tell me your marks out of 246. How many marks are obtained? Others, if you have any questions, drop your questions in the chat. Google Play Store. It is free now. What's your perspective? It is not an app that you can like download. Like it's like a app that already comes with your Android phones. So which perspective are you asking? Good. Majority of it are good marks. Let me check my. When did we pay for Microsoft PowerPoint? It is already installed in the computer now. When you're buying a computer, certain computers they give you the student license. So they'll be like free student license. That is when you're buying the computer itself, the person you bought the computer from, he has bought the license already and he has given you that license. Right? That's why your computer has a license. But normally, if you take Microsoft PowerPoint, it is a licensed software. Now, if you take that what you have free as well, you're not paying for it. But you bought the laptop from shop, no? That shop people actually, the company manufacturer has paid for Google, sorry, has paid for Microsoft and only got the presentation application. Got it? Yes, you're free. In spreadsheet, telephone number is text or numeric. What's the recording? Actually, there was a small thing regarding text and numeric. Like it's a detailed thing I told in one of the paper class. I can't remember exactly which week. In the YouTube recording, go and check, I guess, the paper class recording of not last week, not week before the last. I guess 23rd or 30th. No, 30th, there was no class. No. I think 23rd class recording, paper class recording, I told you about that. Because there are ways you can make the phone number become text. There are ways you can make the phone number called numeric. I showed you that both ways and how to identify, how to differentiate on the recording. Let's go and check one of the recordings. It's MCQ question I was discussing it. Is Microsoft PowerPoint and Apple also licensed? Microsoft PowerPoint is licensed. Apple is the company name. It's not an application. That's fine, Mario. Those who have any questions, you can stay and ask. Others, you can leave because we're done for the day. But I'm going to check your answer now from your question. Um, you want the question too, right? Copy OneNote. Then by that's fine. We open whiteboard. Wait a minute. What is piracy? Piracy is like, for example, imagine you purchase the class. Let's say I have a paid class and you purchase my paid class. And let's say you record my paid class and you're going to send my, record my paid class. Let's say you're going to publish my recording to the YouTube. It's a paid class record. Paid class. You come, you pay for my class and you watch, you join my class. And you record the class and you publish on YouTube. That's piracy. So normally what happens is people, they go and buy the software. They go and purchase and they buy a software. After they buy the software, they go and publish the software they buy, they pay and buy. They'll publish in the internet for free. So that's piracy. Lena, check with Rakim because he already handles the payments. Okay, Mariam, I'll just check your question now. What is the output of the above pseudocode? Let's see. A equals 0, B equals 1, count equals 1, while count is not equal to 6. Can't see the screen now. Wait. While count is not equal to 6. Where's the mouse? Count and then C equals A plus B. A equals B equals display. So these are the columns you're going to have. All the variable names, condition, and then finally output. When the program started, you have mentioned here that A equals 0. So I'm going to mention 0. B equals 1. 1. Count equals 1. 1. While count is not equal to 6. Is count not equal to 6? True. Count equals count plus 1. That's 2. C equals A plus B. 0 plus 1 is 1. A equals B. That's 1. B equals C. That's 1. Display B. That's 1. Again, you go and check, is count not equal to 6? Is count not equal to 6? True. Count equals count plus 1. Now count is 3. C equals A plus B. A plus B is 1 plus 1, 2. A equals B. B is 1. B equals C. C is 2. Display B. 2. Count equals count plus 1. Now it's 4. C equals A plus B. So 2 plus 1 is 3. A equals B is 2. B equals C. That's 3. Display B. Count equals count plus 1. That's 5. C equals A plus B. Wait, I forgot the true. C equals A plus B. A equals B. B equals C. Display B. Count equals count plus 1. C equals A plus B. A equals B. B equals C. Display B. Is count not equals 0? False. Program stops. The program stops. The output was 1, 2, 4, 5, 8. Sorry, this should be 3. Because output B, I have output count. B was never 4. B was 3. See, output 1, this one. Output 2, this one. Output 3, this one. Output 5, this one. Output 8, this one. So answer is 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Answer is the fourth one. Mariam, got it? Or you want me to explain? Got it. Perfect. Okay, Irma, you asked the ASCII thing. In ASCII, what happens is, okay, for every digit, we assign a number. Okay. So, for example, for not every digit, every character. For example, for the letter A, we have given the number 65. For the letter B, we have given the number 66 kilo. For every character, there is a number assigned. Okay, it's a decimal number assigned. Now, if you take ASCII, ASCII is actually a coding system, which means like we have decimal, binary, octal. These are number system, no? Like, because these coding number systems are used only to represent numbers. Okay, number systems are normally used only to represent numbers. But using coding system, apart from numbers, you can also represent letters and other symbols as well. Okay. So what's going to happen is to identify those letters, all those stuffs, for these letters and symbols, we have given a respective decimal number, right? And then if you take ASCII, ASCII is actually a 7-bit number system. The meaning of this word called 7-bit number system is every character, every ASCII character is going to be represented using 7 bits. Okay, every ASCII character is going to be represented using 7 bits. Which means, let's say if you get a question asking how to represent the word cat in ASCII, the letter C has an ASCII value. The letter A has ASCII value and letter T has ASCII value. So you have to figure out what these 3 values, ASCII values are first. Okay. Now, first of all, if letter A is equal to 65, then you can predict then B is 66 and C has to be 67. Likewise, if you try to find the value of T, okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, 19, 65, 75, 85, 84. T is actually equal to 84. If you again, I'm going to order. If I go in order, like A is 65, B is 66, C is 67, D is 68. If I go in order, I'll be able to figure out A is 65, C is 67, and T is 84. Now, I have here all the values in decimal. But I told you a while ago, in ASCII normally, representing the number, you represent the number in 7 bits. What do you mean by this word called bit? What does the word bit actually mean? What does this word called bit mean in 7 bits? Bit actually means binary digit. So we had to represent this number 65 using 7 binary digits, right? So what you do is you convert that 65 into binary now. These are decimal numbers now. Convert it to binary. So 65 divided by 2, 2 times 33, 32 is 64, 1 remains. Divide by 2, 2 times 16 is 32, 0 remains. Divide by 2, 2 times 8 is 16, 0 remains. Divide by 2, 2 times 4 is 8, 0 remains. Divide by 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 0 remains. Divide by 2, 2 times 1 is 2, 0 remains. Divide by 2 times 0 is 0, 1 remains. When you write the remainder from bottom to top, you will have the value of 65 equal to 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 base 2. If you count the number of characters here, you can see there are 7 binary digits. So this is the way you can represent the letter A in ASCII. Similarly, if you try representing number 67 in ASCII, it will be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you try to represent number 84 in ASCII, basically you divide like this and find the answer. You'll have the answer as 64, 10, 1, 2, 4, 8, 1, 2, 4, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did the mind calculation, but the idea is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, this is the value of 84 in binary. This is the value of 67 in binary, and this is the value of 65 in binary. Okay. Once you find the binary value equivalent for every digit, now you can tell the ASCII value of cat is equal to, first of all, write the ASCII of C. C is actually 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then A, that's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then T, that's 1, 1, 2, 1, 0, 1, 0 base 8. This is the ASCII value of cat. The first 7 digits represent the letter for letter C. The next 7 digit one represent for letter A, and next 7 digit represent the letter T. So what you do is, normally the questions they'll give you a hint. Either they might tell you A is equal to 65. They might give some hint where you can figure out what is A or what is B, or you can figure out letter. Once you figure out one letter, you can easily figure out the remaining letters in decimal. Then convert to binary and write them together. Got the idea how to ask questions? I hope this is what you asked, Ilma, right? Correct. What is the purpose in that program? Which program? This one. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 3. Do you know something called Fibonacci sequence? I think it's called, this is Fibonacci sequence. No, not Fibonacci sequence. Like if you notice what's happening here, it's a pattern. The previous 2 numbers addition is the next number. Previous 2 numbers addition is the next number. See, previous 2 numbers addition is the next number. I think that sequence is called Fibonacci sequence. Let me double check in Google. Yes, I'm correct. It's Fibonacci sequence. In Fibonacci sequence, it's like a progression. The next number is addition of the previous two numbers. Next number is addition of previous two numbers. So in that program, you're getting the Fibonacci sequence. See, the 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Got it? Anyways, anyone having any other questions I want to clarify? What is it, Tasman? What is the hexadecimal color code for the RGB 135 135 255 16. Now, if you look at this number, these are RGB number. No? When you say RGB color, the first value they are given mention the amount of reduced. The second value represents the amount of green used. The third value represents the amount of blue used. Okay, amount of reduced, amount of green used, and amount of blue used. Is it like this? So, if you take these numbers, normally this number can, what do you call, vary between 0 to 255. Keep that in your mind. Huh? These numbers you have here, it can vary between 0 to 255. But leaving this aside, let's see how to do this question. If you want to convert this number from RGB to hexadecimal, what you do is you convert each of these values. Okay, you convert each of these values from decimal to hexadecimal. So, for example, if I convert number 135 to hexadecimal, 16 times 8 is 16 times 5 is 80. 16 times 6 is 96. 112, 96, 102, 112, and then 128, and then 4. So it's 8. 16 times 8, 8, 16, 24, 32, 48, 8 times 1, 8, 19, 100. Yeah, correct. Okay. 16 times 8 is 128. 7 remains. Divided by 16. 16 times 0 is 0. 8 remains. So answer is 87 base 16. Similarly, if you convert 255 from decimal to hexadecimal, 16 times 15. 6 times 5 is 30. 3 remains. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 6 is 6. 5 plus 6 is 11, 11 plus 3 is 14, 1 remains. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Yeah. 1 times 1 is 1, plus 1 is 1, 240. So 16 times 15 is 240. 15 remains. 16 times 0 is 0. 15 remains. Normally in hexadecimal, we represent 15 as F. So 255 is equal to FF base 16. Again, what I'm doing here is basically, I'm converting from decimal to hexadecimal. Similarly, if you convert from 16, 16 times 1 is 16, 0 remains. 16 times 0 is 0, 1 remains. So answer is 10 base 16. Now I have found out how much is 135 in hexadecimal, how much is 255 in hexadecimal, how much is 60 in hexadecimal. Normally, if you take hexadecimal color code or hexa color code, what happens is you put hashtag in front and then you have 6 values, 6 digits actually, 6 characters, 2, 4, 6. Out of these 6 characters, the first 2 characters will represent the amount of red used. The next 2 characters will represent the amount of green used. And the next 2 characters will represent the amount of blue used. So here you can see we have used 87 of red. So it's going to be hashtag 87. We have used FF of green. So FF. And we have used 10 of blue. So 10 base 16. This is the hexadecimal value for this RGB value. Is that clear? But it is the amount of R I converted from decimal to hexadecimal. The amount of green I converted from hexadecimal to decimal. The amount of blue I converted from decimal to hexadecimal. Once I converted this, I just wrote them together. Mean I got it? Perfect. I'll show that later. If it's for short. Anything else? Anyone? Okay. As there's no other questions related to this, I am good in the meeting. Again, if there's anything, WhatsApp me. I'll get back to you soon. As for the dry run, I'll WhatsApp it to you, okay? Okay. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.